Ever since the situation happened with Jimmy Kimmel when he was taken off the air, Donald Trump and FCC chairman Brandon Carr is acting like they had nothing to do with it. They're saying that he was taken off the air because of poor ratings and he basically sucked. That's what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump, they're backpedaling. Now, we all saw Brandon Carr on national TV when he said we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. We're going to be going after networks who support these companies putting these people on TV spewing hate speech. These are things that he said out of his own mouth. And they took him right off the air right after he made the Charlie Kirk statements. He made the Donald Trump statements in regards to Charlie Kirk. He was taken off the air. But they're saying, man, we didn't get him taken off. It had nothing to do with us. Well, Joe Rogan is in hot water with Maga now because Joe Rogan, who's also in media, and he has a big platform, right? He said that infringing on free speech is dangerous. And he doesn't like what Donald Trump and Brendan Carr did. Well, MAGA doesn't like him voicing his opinion against Donald Trump because he was saying this.
Jimmy Kimmel situation that is happening right now.
Yeah, wild.
Very wild. Okay, first of all, the FCC is, you have to have a license to broadcast, which is kind of crazy when you think about what that means now. First of all, I definitely don't think that the government should be involved ever in dictating what a comedian can or cannot say in a monologue. That's right. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Now, if the problem is the companies, if they're being pressured by the government, so if that's real, and if people on the right are like, yeah, go get them, oh my God, you're crazy.
For a long time, Joe Rogan was a staunch Democrat. He was on the left, right? And a lot of the shenanigans and buffoonery that the left has been doing over the years has swayed a lot of people to go right. And then he was looked at as like radical right. And he has a large MAGA following, right? And the MAGA following saying, Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert, they just had bad ratings. They were whack. They were corny. They don't deserve to be on the air. Get them out of here, right? Well, we know that that wasn't the truth. Donald Trump didn't like what they were saying about him, so Donald Trump got them to boot. They had to get out of here. So now when Joe Rogan, who's basically like to me in the middle, right? I don't think that he's far right or far left. He's like in the middle, right? He's voicing his opinion on this, and MAGA's upset. MAGA's ready to kick him out the whip. They ain't having it because he's talking like this.
You're crazy for supporting this because this will be used on you. You don't think that the globalist lizard people who run the world are sitting here going, great, what do we got, 3 years? We'll wait this out. We'll wait this out. Yeah. Let them say the government should be involved in censoring people's speech.
So he said globalist lizard people. Listen, man, listen. That's a whole nother video. But the Biden administration, they was also censoring free speech under the guise of misinformation during the COVID situation, right? Now, we had people testify, Mark Zuckerberg and senators and other people testify before Congress that and on the Senate floor that they were sending people to these major YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and they were censoring all kinds of people and making people take channels down and videos down, saying it under the guise of misinformation during that time. You wasn't allowed to say anything, right? They banned Trump. They did a whole bunch of different things, right? So now when Trump get in office, they banning things under the guise of hate speech and harmful rhetoric, right? Fake news and all this kind of stuff. So they're doing the same thing. They just using different words and verbiage to do it. And they making you choose sides. And while you're choosing sides, you're choosing, like you're actually giving away your rights because both of them are doing the same thing. So Joe Rogan is speaking on this. And MAGA's upset because MAGA's not that smart. Most MAGA are these people with 3 teeth in their mouth. They live in a double-wide trailer home in Indiana, somewhere in Arkansas, and they're voting against their own interests as well because we see what Trump has been doing to the farmers, the W farmers, and all these different groups, right? So Joe Rogan is using his platform to call this out and speak on this, and now he's under fire. Check it out.
Yeah. Let him support that. Let these dumb because Jimmy Kimmel's a leftist. Let these dumbasses think it's a good idea, and we should celebrate that.
Yeah. That's the most toxic I keep seeing online when people are like, Yeah, shut him down.
So going back to this Jimmy Kimmel thing, there's a lot going on with this.
Do you know him, by the way, or no?
Yes.
You
He's
do.
a good guy. Jimmy's a good guy. He's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. He was always very funny on when he did that Windy City Heat thing.
I love that. It's such a good movie.
I think he tried to distance himself from that.
Oh,
He
big
became,
time.
like very, very, very successful because it's a 25-year prank.
What's his name? Perry Farrell?
Yeah. No, let's not mention him.
Okay.
Let's because
I know.
litigious. Let's just have people go find it when he
find it.
Heat. But you see that and you go, oh, that's the same guy. Like, yeah. Well, so one thing that does happen to guys as they get older is, they soften their ways and they change who they are and they change how they interface with the world and and then if you're in Hollywood, you're also addicted to an ideology, and it depends on what kind of style you have. So if you have a funny, mocking style that is like satirical, that's always making fun of things tongue in cheek, like Norm Macdonald, perfect example. Norm Macdonald, even if he's making fun of you, is not going to piss you off to the point where you tweet about him. Because if you do, he kind of won. He kind of got you. You know what I mean? So it's like Kimmel has this sort of go f yourself style. Look, it's kind of ironically, he celebrated in his monologue when Tucker Carlson got fired. It's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a problem that he, in his monologue, talked about how it was the right thing to fire Roseanne.
Yeah, I remember that.
A little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Bit of a problem. Also a problem that he thought the unvaccinated, he made a joke about the unvaccinated people shouldn't get hospital care if there's people who are vaccinated that need that room. I think the joke was, oh, vaccinated person who's had a heart attack, come right in here, sir. Unvaxxed person who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy. Like, that was the joke. Look, I'm unvaccinated. And I was like, that's kind of a f***ed up joke, but I'm not mad at him.
No, it's a joke.
It's just a joke.
It's a joke.
But it's like, those things weren't a problem. But this one thing where he said it was a low point. What did he say? I want to be real clear. Let's like pull up his actual quote, because what he said was not bad. It wasn't accurate though, but it wasn't bad. He was just trying to set up this joke of Trump, which was good.
It was a great joke.
It was very funny.
But the setup was a little wonky. I do remember listening to it.
And see, I understand what Joe Rogan is trying to say, but I think that for many years we lived in this country where people could just say anything they want, especially about black Americans. People just say all kinds of stuff about us, right? Now people want to start censoring people. Because what that comedian said during COVID about the non-vaccinated, I thought was very distasteful and very disrespectful, knowing what was going on in this country, right? There was a lot of things going on in this country that I think that shouldn't be said, right? But you also should also not infringe on free speech. Now, what Jimmy Kimmel, the joke that Jimmy Kimmel said was in regards to Donald Trump, because when Donald Trump was asked about Charlie Kirk, he started talking about building a new wing to the White House and stuff like that. Right after Charlie Kirk was unalive. I think that's what people was poking fun of, right? Not the fact that Charlie Kirk died. And then when the president got on TV himself and blamed the radical left, right? When there was no proof that the radical left had anything to do with it. I think that he poured gasoline on the fire as well by saying the things that he said. Now, I think that Jimmy Kimmel's joke and the way that he did it could be in poor taste and bad timing, but this is America. That's the American way. They've been always talk like that. This is nothing new. Comedians have always had carte blanche to say things in a comedic way. Sometimes it lands well, sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes it doesn't. So, like I said, man, listen. Roseanne said some very inflammatory things where she ended up getting fired. There's a lot of people that's Fox let go over time, right? Tucker Carlson spent the whole lifetime talking about the black community and saying things that was inflammatory and without substantiated facts, right? But he was eventually let go. But they wasn't finished. Let's look at this part.
It's the problem with doing it that way on Monday is that by Sunday night, they already knew that this guy, his family had been saying that, again, I don't even know if he really did it. But this person who they're talking about,
the plant.
this person who they're talking about, whether or not he did it or didn't do it, well, the FBI is now investigating deeply and further, by the way.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So Kash Patel did say that. Whatever that means.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
it's a weird phrasing when he goes, they're trying to pin it as anybody but them.
Yeah.
Asserting that he was a MAGA
Well, this is
guy.
the thing. In the beginning, people thought he was. So the first reports were that he was a hardcore right-wing guy, that he was a registered Republican, which he may or may not be. Sometimes people go back and forth, you know. And then the other thing was that he was a groiper. So he was a Nick Fuentes fan. That was some other stuff that was going around.
What's groiper?
We'll get into that in a bit.
Okay.
Hold, please.
Yeah.
Then it came out that, no, his father is a law enforcement guy?
I don't think that's true.
That's not true?
I think that's what that was part of the story, but I think later found out that wasn't
Right.
true also. I don't know. I'll look
What's
it up.
true?
Some family members, by Sunday, the Utah governor was saying that family members were reporting that this young man had been wrapped up in some very hardcore leftist ideology. So this had already been released on Sunday. So on Monday, if Kimmel had just said, you know, it was a tragic thing that Charlie Kirk died, and let's see what the president thinks about it. Goes right to him, and like, what if this is the fourth stage of grief?
It's a great joke.
It's a great joke. The whole thing was great, but the problem is, we had already known by then. Again, at least the narrative is that this kid is not a
I didn't think that Jimmy Kimmel should have had to apologize to anybody. Unfortunately, when Charlie Kirk was alive, he said some very, very inflammatory things about George Floyd, right? But what about George Floyd's family? What about George Floyd's daughter, right? Whatever went on in his past life, that had nothing to do with Derek Chauvin having that knee on his neck. He said that Derek Chauvin should have been let out. He said he took up for every police that was caught on video when Tamir Rice situation, Terrence Crutcher, all the things that was caught on video where police was unjustly unaliving black people. He made excuses for it and said that those police should get off. He didn't care nothing about their families at all. At all. He said some very disparaging things about Dr. King. Dr. King was unalived in this country before the world. Everybody saw it. Everybody saw Dr. King get hit in the neck. He didn't care anything about Dr. King's grandchildren. And I dare Maga to challenge me on this. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. You guys say, well, he was doing this with these women. Show proof. Show documented audio, picture, evidence, everything. Show it. There's not been shown. There's been accusations, right? Show it. Why would I believe the W man when he's been a historical liar? No, I don't believe you. But look at what he said about Dr. King. What about Dr. King's family? He never had to apologize for that. So anybody can just say anything about black folks and they just get away with it. Look at what he said about those black women not being intelligent enough. He could just say that and get away with it. So why does Jimmy Kimmel have to apologize? He lived his life that way. These are facts. This is not something that we're making up. This is not hate speech. This is factual that we can pull up the evidence to prove it. What about Dr. King's grandchildren and children? Oh, he just get away with doing that. So now I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel should have had to apologize for anything, right? But y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. I'm going to cut this video short. If y'all made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.